Gloves on, gloves off. Fire up, fire up. Yeah, and there's been a lot of swinging going on, and I just want to say much love and respect to everybody out there protesting for social justice. It's a serious situation. I just know that Black Lives Matter, and we have to find a way to make sure that everybody recognizes that life is life, and we all got to see each other. We got to coexist, but it has to be a level playing field, and it must be one of just plain human decency and respect. Well, I think it's important that everybody first, you know, embrace the fact that everyone's standing strong, and I think it's important that as people take these steps to stand up for what they believe in, I think there should have been a greater focus on catching the people that was starting the fires and starting all unnecessarily violent stuff like that. That to me, I think there's been a lot of discussion around it, but the people actually doing it seems to be getting away, and it's not right. I just think that um, people went to go protest peacefully, and that's where it should be. It should be on peace, not on breaking businesses down into little pieces. Because a lot of these small businesses are going to be out of business because they were just an innocent bystander, very much like how George Floyd was an innocent until proven guilty. But the cop took the law into his own hands and put his knee on his neck and wouldn't let go, no matter what people said. So I just know that one aspect is we have to have a real focus on what the agenda is. And Father Gassi, I just want to speak to the agenda is it needs to be stronger. And I understand that there's a media play to try and attack cops and go after their disciplinary records and all this other stuff. But I don't hear anybody talking about, business. I don't hear anybody talking about jobs. I don't hear nothing going towards something real positive and productive other than get him, embarrass him, release his records. That ain't going to do anything other than make, the situation more intense. So I think I think I think what really needs to happen, and you and I have discussed this before, municipalities need to hire restaurants and they need to feed neighborhoods and they need to invite the cops, firefighters, and other, different municipal workers to participate. Be it they break out a grill and they start grilling, but at the very least, there needs to be a conversation over the grill. Don't just grill the beef. And I think having those conversations will create a so much better opportunity to resolve differences than not. And that's what needs to happen. The agenda needs to go back to the table, literally in the street, and people need to eat and talk about their differences and just watch how quickly things start getting better. It's psychological warfare, man. That's what it is. Psychological warfare. It, yeah, they're biased, and I think we've all identified that. But one of the things that I think the media has really failed on is pointing out that the majority of these encounters where a black man is killed by the police while unarmed or a black woman are in cities that are run by Democrats, are in counties run by Democrats, and states literally run by Democrats. And it's like, what's up? Why is that relationship there? And and that's why I go back to when in 2016, when I recognized that there was this issue and there was a possibility of it happening in Mount Vernon. You know, yeah, we took to the streets, but we took to the streets in a different way. We went out there with love, and I know it works, and it sounds cliche, but just think about how different the reaction would be if the police did what you saw in Houston, where the police chief walked with the protesters. That's it. Like if you set up a situation where two powers collide, and you saw this in Brooklyn, it's like the police were there to keep order, and the people went there to protest disorder. You're gonna have the chaos that we saw. But if they showed up with, look, we gonna listen, and we gonna try and let's talk this out a little bit and see what we can do. While many of the protesters would be taken off guard, it would cool their foot, man. But it don't help to have President Trump trying to bring the military out. That's unnerving right there. I don't like that move. Trying to get the military to start taking over cities, and no, man. And the curfew piece by Mayor De Blasio, I'm hoping that he can revisit that and just take a different approach. And if he has to admit that the approach didn't work, just acknowledge it and say, look, I'm listening to you. I'm going to do a different path. It's not saying that he's completely wrong. He just has to say, we're adjusting our approach. And just, what I don't want is people to dig in based on their ego and how they're feeling. And I want people to really step up and not step back. Keep stepping up, but it has to be, on some kind of substantive platform. And that's why I come back to Gassy, the jobs, the economics, the business. Like, let's give people some things to do that's positive, and not just waste this moment to fight. Fight for something bigger. Fight a bigger fight for something that's gonna, build up wealth for the community, not stupid politics. because because the leaders are waiting for permission to lead, and that's the problem. Like, you got to look at it for what it is. The politics in Mount Vernon, the politics is the problem. And again, Mount Vernon being a Democratic city, how come the Democrats can't figure out that they got to support an economic agenda like this small Caribbean business? It's not just small; it's mighty. It employs people, it feeds people, and you got to take care of that. You got to nurture it. And I can tell you right now, I'm disappointed that the Mount Vernon Police Department seems to be targeting this this business owner, and you can see it in the amount of violations that they write and the types that they write. And it's like, you know what? Why won't they go ahead and write violations on these slumlords that harass and terrorize their tenants? And I go back to the time when I was, trying to get the police. Some of them, not all of them, were resistant to this, but a select few. And I can almost, you know, point out that a select few did not want to write up these zombie homes. But these zombie homes are problems because they are havens for crime and grime, mosquitoes and all other sorts of stuff that hide in the grass, be it paraphernalia, be it whatever. They can do a good job by helping highlight these zombie homes that need to be addressed so that neighbors don't have to, deal with the riffraff that come with it. But again, I go there because it's clear that if they can write tickets to harass a business owner, they can write tickets or write reports to point out the crime and grime in the city, but they turn a blind eye because for some reason I'm not sure why the leadership demoralized them, but I know they're demoralized, and I tell them when I see them, I appreciate the good work that you've done. I recognize that things are different now, but my objective and my hope is that you guys, along with everybody else in the city of Mount Vernon, stay safe and never forget that we one big family here in the city. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. Like it infuriates me. I just drove through the city earlier this evening, and it's so dead, and it's so disappointing because if there's going to be a resistance or if there's going to be a revitalization, it has to come from the people, and the people can't feel intimidated and bullied by the police. It only creates tension, and it creates a bad situation, and that's why I'm just like, man, I know that we're better than that, and we were better than that, but there has to be a bigger plan. Like how come there isn't a massive discussion about we're going to shut down parts of the streets in Mount Vernon to make room for businesses to have outdoor dining? and we're going to work with the businesses to build, like, I don't want to call them huts, but we want to build like seating and decks out in the street per se, with great landscaping, nice flowers and bushes. Just think about the investment that requires, right? And whoever's in the background, tell them I said hello, and if they have any thoughts on what we talking about, because we hear them, but we want them to know, like, this is what should be happening. And today there was news that the coronavirus is in the air, and wearing a mask may be one of the biggest factors as to why it slowed down. So if it's the mask, then maybe we can be a bit more mindful of, or how we can reopen. And I'm just speaking out loud, like, how come Fourth Avenue and Gramerton and all these different locations where there are restaurants, and that's why I say bless up to Ripe. They had a fire, man. I'm very disappointed with that, but seriously, I just want to see some kind of bigger plan where streets are closed down, businesses can go out and have a way to try and make some kind of money, give back some kind of normalcy. Not hearing the police are harassing restaurants for trying to keep their lights on. Like, come on, we're better than that. And we got these elections coming up for school board and library trustee, and I just look, I know that Caitlin Gleason is somebody that has a very strong voice. And what I like about Caitlin Gleason the most is that she tells you to your face. And and even when it's like, she's not really all that personal, but she can get personal. But she pulls you to the side and be like, "Da, da, da, da," and that's how it should be. So I think Caitlin is a great person to put back on the library board. And Jamie Pesson, he ran with me since kindergarten. So I hope everybody supports Jamie Pesson. That's my dude right there. And but with respect to the school board, it's I hope that the next round of school board trustees are ready for this big challenge that's coming. And I know that Shauna Staunton, I know that Jeff Red and Cynthia Turnquest Jones are definitely ready. I know Mark Stuckey is ready. I know Brenda Crump is ready to rock. I can tell you right now, you got some great choices, but I definitely like the team that formed with Staunton, Cynthia Turnquest, and Jeff Red. I think that's a strong, strong team. But if people are looking for more wisdom and experience, definitely got to hit up Mark Stuckey, because that guy is a real. He's a contractor. He knows what he's doing in many different situations. And I just want to make sure everybody knows you got some tough choices, but we got to get it done. And Gassi, I've been on these different text threads with people, and they've been complaining about the ballots. Oh, the election's going to be stolen and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, here we go again. Democrats, tilting elections toward a way for their select, hand-picked few. And yeah, but think about how the Democrats. But hold up, and this is where I say it's a weak, intellectually lazy argument. You know why? Because people got to go to the grocery store, stand in line, and buy their groceries however many times they go out. And if you go and vote, you need to do the same thing. Just go vote. And if you want to fill out an absentee ballot, then create another situation. Do a drive-by voting. All this mail-in ballot bullshit means that the election can be stolen. The same way they stole my primary, they're gonna steal it like this. It's infuriating because this is what Democrats unfortunately do. And that's why there's this big break with AOC and the New Democrats, because they recognize that fair is fair. And that's what needs to happen. It needs to be fair, not, foolishness. Come on, man. Hold an election and just be fair with it. Well, the schools can only do what the board of elections let them, and that's where you got to have the real reform. You got to reform these elections laws because it's not just the laws, but you got to look at the leadership of it. And Reggie Lafayette has been the chair of the Democratic Party in Mount Vernon, and he's also the commissioner of the board of elections. And look, I've learned a lot from Reggie, but the one thing that I really just don't understand is how can you be a black leader and just look at the condition of our black city. The roads are destroyed. The crime after I left got out of control, and our families, our fight for a better future just got a little bit more bleaker, a lot more bleaker with COVID now. But just look at that. So it's like you got all this power to wield it for good. How come interests, how come private interests can make you turn your back on your friends? That's not right. You know, and that's something that I morally could never do. Like I just know that interest is important, but when you have a value that parks should be beautiful, we should think outside the box and bring the beach to Mount Vernon. We should try to do things differently to get a different outcome. Better. Yeah, and just expand the pie, expand. Let's do the ideals of the party. But that's why there's this big break, and I just know that the most powerful thing to do is to let go of power, and we know that President Trump is not going to let go of power without a fight. But but I just want to say, like, you know, we have this opportunity right now. And I think the more and more people protest, we got to make sure that agenda is crystal clear. Demand money for black communities. How about that? Give both Democrats and Republicans a shot to step up and say, hey, I'm going to get this done. Invest in the programs, invest in youth programs, youth jobs for the summer. Let's not just make it about, us versus them or us versus the police. That ain't the fight. The right fight is the economic fight. Get the money, into the community and uplift the people, and watch how much better off we'll be. Look, I think it's important to march. I think it's a great honor and opportunity to again restate what we stand for. But I think that date should be, a deadline where that March highlights we're expecting investments into our communities. We're expecting these things to be done, and we're not waiting. We don't care if the presidential election is in November. What we want to make sure is that whoever's going to be the next president is going to have a full team to get it done. And if it's going to be a march, let's make sure that it's a march in every state in the country where it's about mobilizing our vote to vote for teams that are going to support our communities. Period. We're going to invest in education, we're going to invest in the environment, and we're going to invest in the economy, meaning we're going to support training for the police. We're going to support small businesses by giving them better loans or grants if we can give it. And we're going to do what needs to be done so that people are working in our community. That's it. That needs to happen. That's what needs to be the march. And then you got to make sure people that are running for Congress and people that are running for Senate, let's give the next president that stands up for the agenda of for our economic well-being, our economic empowerment. Let's give that next president the team that's going to get it done for our community. And if it's Joe Biden, then you know what? Let's go. Let's get Utah. Let's get New Mexico. Let's get Colorado. Let's get Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota. Let's get the country together. Let's get that going. Not just beefing in Brooklyn. Let's go America. Let's go. Gloves on, gloves off. What's up? What's up? What's up, Sir Selassie? Everywhere. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they need to be caught. Like we got all these mobile phones and technologies. That's all right. All right. Yeah, that's like going in 60 seconds right there. Hey man, that's hey. I don't know. Don't underestimate people. Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, but now here's something that I just want to shift your attention to. Last night, a young black man by the name of Kamal Flowers was shot and killed in Rochelle. So, as I was saying, yeah, a young man was shot while he was being pursued by New Rochelle police. His name is Kamal Flowers, 24 years old. Um, here we go. You talking about more aggressive. Now, what I do know is, based on the news report earlier today, the Mayor Noam Bramson, described the situation, and details are definitely gonna be scrutinized because there are a lot of questions here. There were no dashboard camera because it was an unmarked car. No body cameras in New Rochelle Police Department. Now here goes a city that has its act together for the most part, right? And this city definitely doesn't have the same financial issues that Mount Vernon has, where we have a controller that's just out of control. But they have a system that's run by a city manager, and the decisions are done in collaboration with the board, which the mayor sits on. So their structure of government is very different. So I just find it odd that New Rochelle don't have body cameras and cameras. I know that I fought for a while to get body cameras in Mount Vernon, but I just want to conclude my comments on that. Here we have a fatality. They said the young man had a weapon on him, and he's now deceased. So it's just kind of like, whoa, what is what is going on here? And I feel for New Rochelle. I feel for everybody impacted by this, but this is something again that we have to talk about. So so for people, hang on, Selassie, hang on. I just want for people that don't know what you're talking about. Um, a news report came out earlier this week in Gothamist that a Mount Vernon detective who was assigned to the Westchester County Police Task Force on Narcotics, um, was tape recorded, and there's allegations of corruption, and there are allegations that people have been framed, that innocent people have been framed. That's the allegation, and I can tell you firsthand, whenever I receive stuff like that, I made it a point to turn over all the information to the proper authorities. And it's up to those authorities to act on it. But you have to now just swing back the other way. Retaliation is real. And you see it in the form of harassment that some small businesses are getting in Mount Vernon for standing up for what they believe in. That's the cost of the but you're right in terms of it, in Buffalo, right? You talk about in Buffalo. Yep. Yeah, well, look, I think I want to stay where with the thought you were on. There's a culture. You're right. There's a culture that needs to be addressed, and that's where it comes from the top, and that's why when I reflect on the approach that I took, look, Obama's 21st policing textbook or playbook, it lays out a phenomenal plan and it leaves room for you to add your own local flavor. And I can tell you that the framework that's in the 21st century policing playbook done by Obama following Ferguson, it works. It worked in Mount Vernon. Crime in the city plummeted because we added our local finesse to it. But you also have to have partners, and that's where we have to have people throughout the system doing the right thing. And it's wrong to have that type of corruption in the culture. I agree. They work ethic. Yeah. 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 The elders play a big part, and that's one of the things that I also created was I had young people partner with the elders, and they had an exchange of wisdom, and it was the we program. It was the wise and the energetic getting together. We the people got together and they had a great time. They played chess. They taught coding to each other. Beautiful. Yeah, man. I never forget when they wouldn't pay the gas bill. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're gonna change that. We're gonna change that with this conversation. No, I don't like that. I don't like that people in Mount Vernon got to go to White Plains, especially for the housing situation. And like there should be a family court in Mount Vernon, but for some reason there's not. I mean, just there's so many things. Like a court would bring so many jobs and activity back to the center of the city. Um, Look, there's a lot to discuss, but what I want to do is we got this is the last round, of gloves on, gloves off. It's the last round. So there goes that bell. So we're gonna wrap this show up in a few. But what we got? What we got? Look, here's the deal. No, 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 whoa, 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 whoa. Let me just say this, San Salasi. Mount Vernon has had a grant since the year 2017, $96,000 from the Department of Justice to put in body cameras and the equipment, the DVRs, I mean, the storage for the footage and all of that. And we could never touch the money. There's at least $200,000 available for it. But guess what? It was blocked by the comptroller and the city council. So I can only tell you that, look, I was trying to change over the entire police fleet to Teslas back in 2017, and the taxi industry as well. We had a deal on the table so that everybody had a very similar vehicle so that if one broke down, guess what? It could be fixed faster. I was trying to move everything over to electric, but that's a discussion for another day. I just know that, you know, we had a this is a real, gloves on, gloves off, gloves were off in this show today. But we gonna be swinging again. We got more to discuss though. We got more to discuss. We have to make sure we connect again soon because so many things are happening. I mean, every few days it seems like the world changes. But I heard you told me something about that there's going to be a Zoom town hall with the council member and a few other people. That I'm looking forward to that. Yep. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. And just know that I'm all in to help. Um, let's move forward. That's all I can tell you. I'm all in to help wherever I can. But I think the conversation needs to be clear. Economics, man. Jobs, jobs, jobs. Let's focus on that. And well, we'll get back to those days, but just know that you know we have some work ahead, and I look forward to the Zoom town hall meeting where the issues can be put on the table, and we focus on the real issues, not insecurities, and I know that the issues that need to be addressed, we can't half step with it, and we have to make sure we take the gloves off and swing away because I'm telling you, man, this is our time to make the biggest changes for the betterment of our community. And it's not just Mount Vernon, it's Ferguson, it's Minneapolis, it's Los Angeles, it's Brooklyn. Let's make this moment work for us by implementing an agenda that uplifts the people from an economic standpoint. You know, I uh, I think because the majority of people come to protest peacefully, and I think that when you look at the the the, the situation, it seems to be um, instigators, agitators, and it seems to be a bigger agenda going on with psychological warfare to try and tilt this country a direction that it don't need to go. The direction we need to go to the dinner table with each other. We need to talk it out, and we need to watch our enemies, our real enemies, because they are really trying to take democracy away from us. We need to make sure that we double down and the police and the people get together and get this behind us and recognize that we in it for better and let's make it better by working together. So that's gloves on, gloves off. We gonna keep swinging. We got so much more to go. Yep, that's right. One love, one love, one love. That's our show. Tune in next time. Where we're gonna be going long on some strong issues. Gloves on, gloves off. Keep swinging. Remember that census. That's right. That was one issue that didn't come up at the rally. But guess what? We're going to rally everybody online. Go fill out your census. Keep swinging. Keep going. Gloves on, gloves off. Bless up.